What could have gone wrong on that Titan submersible? With no word yet from the vessel since it went missing an hour and 45 minutes into its dive on Sunday, time is running out on the sub's air reserve. Possible theories are emerging about what could have happened, from a power cut that would explain the loss of communication, or a potential fire caused by short-circuiting, which could have destroyed the vessel's systems and possibly created toxic fumes. Another possibility, a flooding or immense pressure, which would have caused the vessel to implode. And potential entanglement with debris from the Titanic wreckage is also one consideration as well, the experts are telling us. Let's join one of them. He is the Titanic historian, Craig Sopin. He joins us from Philadelphia. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, obviously you know this site incredibly well. Just explain how difficult it is to work in.
Well, Titanic itself is located in a pretty caustic environment in the North Atlantic. And if we think about how long it took to find the Titanic, 73 years, we keep in mind the Titanic is about 900 feet long. This submersible is about 21 to 22 feet long. So it shows you how difficult it would be to find something of that size in a very large ocean. Fortunately, our techniques for finding these kinds of things have increased and have expanded and have improved since 1912 and even since 1985, when Titanic itself was discovered. Nevertheless, it's still a very small object in a very large ocean, which is known for swells and storms. So the Coast Guard and the Navy certainly have their work cut out for them.
We were talking earlier in the program about how difficult this rescue mission is going to be because you have to locate it. If it's at the bottom of the ocean, it's going to be very difficult to get the people out safely, isn't it? Because you have to have the right equipment to get it to the surface. Do you and your fellow historians have an issue with the fact that this sort of tourism was taking place in the first place?
Well, there are very few vessels, first of all, that can possibly rescue this submersible if it's at the bottom of the ocean. Keeping in mind that the bottom of the ocean, where they are, is about 12,500 feet. So it's quite a large distance, and there is a Navy vessel that could possibly help. It's called the Curve 21. I think that's capable of descending about 30,000 feet. So that's certainly a possibility. Hopefully, though, if the ship is still intact, it is somewhere on the surface. I really never had a problem with the tourism aspect of this. A lot of people are hesitant to go down, even if they could afford it. But it wasn't because of the safety issue. It was because of other issues, such as claustrophobia. And it's probably not the best way to find out that you're claustrophobic, because you can't do anything about it until about 10 hours later when the vessel surfaces. So I really didn't have a problem in that regard. And we really haven't had a problem like this since they started taking people down about 20 years ago.
So many people are talking about what it must be like for the poor people on board. Of course, you wouldn't wish it on anyone. But do you think the company should have just had some sort of system in place to cope with this? Because the reality is the sort of equipment you're talking about, sort of vessels you're talking about, weren't on standby to go in and save them.
No, and depending on where that Curve 21 vessel is located, it could take quite some time to get to the area. And they only have about 2 days of oxygen left. But I will say that the company, OceanGate, is very safety oriented. They do tests of the equipment. The equipment itself is very secure and should be able to withstand all of the pressures that can come upon them. The pilot on board that vessel is extremely experienced and has made many, many dives before to the Titanic wreck site. So when you take all things into consideration, we can always, in hindsight, think, well, something should have been done differently. It could have been better, but certainly this Titan vessel is a lot better at the get-go than some of the other vessels have been. Again, this is a larger vessel than the others. The other submersibles that have visited Titanic were smaller, only capable of taking 3 people instead of 5. It is true some people are hesitant about going down because there's only one pilot, and we would be far afield to go onto an airplane, a commercial airplane that only had one pilot on board. But on the other hand, when we have a flight controller, so the air traffic control system has one person dealing with many different airplanes, in this case, Ocean Gate has many people dealing with only one vessel. So it has to be compared in a relative term. And I think that even though there is one pilot on board because of all the other safety systems in place, that was considered sufficient for this type of tourism.
Craig Sopin, thank you.